All right, this video is designed to give you a broad overview of some of the main structures that I have in place for AP Calculus this year. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about first what the class will be like. I designed this class, the structures of this class, so that whether you were in the Eulers Online where you're always at home, whether you were in the hybrid where you're spending part of the time in class, part time at home, to be somewhat similar in structure. And even within the hybrid model, whether you're in class or whether you're at home, that the tasks that you're working on are for the most part the same. The obvious advantage to being in class is that you're in class. We're face to face, right? So we can have quick discussions. I can help you easier. You can ask me questions quicker, that kind of thing. All right. So let me kind of explain how I've done that. At the beginning of each unit, at the beginning of each chapter, you will get a checklist. And units and chapters mean the same thing for this video. So you will get a checklist, and that checklist will tell you everything you need to do for that unit. And it will be on the top of a packet. In that packet will be all of the activities, all of the note-taking guides, if there are any, for that unit. It should all be right there. So as you move through the unit, you can check things off, and it gives you a good idea, kind of big picture, where you're at in the unit. So let me actually show you the first one here. That is not it. This is it. All right, so this is the first, the prerequisites pacing guide here, or unit checklist. And you can see that almost all of this stuff is in the packet. All right, so when you do the algebra manipulation skills, you can check it off over here. If you want to write the date that you completed it, that's fine. The days over here are just kind of ballpark what I expected to spend on each day, I'm kind of expecting you to get done in each day, and how fast you might need to accomplish stuff to stay on pace. And you can see down here we have the prerequisite skills test. Now in most units there will be at least one quiz and a test. With these, the quiz and test dates are sort of set in stone. I can change them, but I will tell you early on, this is when the quiz is going to take place, and you need to have everything done by that quiz date if you want to stay on pace. All right. So I'll give you that date, and then you have an idea of how fast you need to get the other stuff done. You can move ahead in this model, but you can't fall behind too much, because if you fall behind too much, you won't be able to get everything done for to take the quiz. Okay. So what else? So we talked about that. Let's talk about what each day looks like. All right. So at the beginning of each week, so on Sunday, I will post to Google Classroom the weekly lesson plans. Now these are suggested plans, because in this model, all direct instruction videos, so all lectures will be, let me say that again. All lectures will be pre-recorded on video, okay? So we'll do Google Meets each day, but I will not be giving whole class lessons through Google Meet. Those will all be pre-recorded. So you could feasibly look at the weekly plans, and Tuesday might say, watch the section 2 video. Right, but you maybe already do that on Monday because you have some extra time and you just want to move ahead. That's fine. The weekly plans are suggested with the exception of the quiz or test dates. Those ones are set, okay? So keep that in mind as you go. I'll send out the weekly plans. That's a guide for what you should be working on each day if you want to stay on pace. All right, at the beginning of each class, at the beginning of the hour, I'm going to start a Google Meet, all right? During that Google Meet, I will talk about things like I might recap lessons. I will go over the plan for the day if you're on pace, where you should be at for the day. I'll talk about when the next quiz is, what's going to be on the quiz, those kinds of things. All of the information that I would typically give you at the beginning of class will happen during that Google Meet. I will not be doing full lessons, like I said. You're also at the beginning of class going to take do the attendance activity. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But that is how I'm taking attendance. So whether or not you're on the Google Meet is not going to be how I take attendance. If you're doing Eulers Online and you oversleep and you miss the Google Meet or something one day, you can still be marked present by completing this attendance activity. Okay, and so I guess why don't I just show you what that looks like? Well, I'll finish the daily structure here. So you will join the Google Meet. I'll talk about what the day is going to be like. You're doing the attendance activity, and then we're going to switch to what I'm calling differentiated work time. So if you're in class, you will switch to either watching video lessons, working on the assignments, working on an activity, getting help from me. I might reteach and do like mini lessons in class, or we might do an activity or something with the whiteboards. But that's the differentiated work time. That's the bulk of the class. And then at the end of class, you will finish by doing the closure slide in the attendance activity, which I'll show you in a second here. So in fact, let's go right to that. So in Google Classroom, under the Classwork tab, critical course information, there will be an attendance activity located right here, and it will be clearly marked. It will probably be at the top of this always, and it will say go to student.desmos.com and type in this code. So when you do that, student.desmos.com looks like this. If you've never been there. Now, I'm already signed in, but it will ask you if you want to sign in. You should sign in, and you should sign in with your school Gmail. Then it will save your work if you accidentally close the window and you need to come back or something. Then you will type in your code here, and you will complete the attendance activity. Here's what the activity looks like for the first day. It will be basically like this each day with some small variations. The first slide is designed to just give me an idea of how you're doing. So are you feeling particularly positive? Are you feeling energetic? This slide won't always look like this. There's a number of different slides I'll use just to kind of check in with you. When you're not here, I don't have the luxury, I guess it is now, of seeing your facial expressions, your body language, talking to you, figuring out how things are going in those kind of nonverbal ways. So this is one way I can kind of take a temperature of the room. Then there will be some warm-up activity. The first one is not math related hardly at all. It is this question about whether a hot dog is a sandwich or not, and but most of the time there will be some sort of warm-up activity here, and then once you've done that, you can go ahead and go start working on whatever you need to work on for the day. Back to the daily structure here. Take the daily structure, you work through your stuff, we do the differentiated work time, and then at the end of class, I will wrap up class if we're in person, just kind of talking about where we're headed next. And then what I'd like everyone to do is fill out the last slide, which is the closure slide in that attendance activity. It's based on your progress today and the date of the quiz. What is your plan for tomorrow? The idea behind the unit plan, behind the closure activity, behind doing Google Meets at the same time each day so that you actually feel like you have a class time each day. The idea behind that is that you've got some structure that you can work within. You know exactly what you've done, where you're headed, and what your ultimate goals are going forward. And working in that framework, I think, is going to help you be the most successful this school year in my class, but other classes as well, if you can keep things organized and laid out clearly. That will also give me an idea of where that closure slide will give me an idea of where you are at the end of that day. Okay, so all kinds of check-in stuff there. Oh, I will leave the Google Meet open the entire hour. All right, so I'll start at the beginning of the hour. I'll talk for a little while, but I'll leave it open the entire hour. My mic will be muted. You can have your mic muted, your camera off. My camera might even be off too. But I want that open for the chat. So if you have questions during the hour, during calculus, which is first hour, if you have questions, drop it in the chat. I'll be checking the chat periodically, and then if it's something that I feel like there's a lot of questions over and needs to be addressed for the whole class, I'll flip my camera and my mic on. We'll talk about it real quick and sort out questions that way. So the Google Meet will be open the entire hour. Last things here, important reminders. Make sure when you do assignments in Google Classroom, when you're completed them, that you turn them in so that I know when you've turned them in. That will give me the timestamp, and I'll make sure that, if you turn it in on time, then I got it on time and everything. You'll be uploading pictures of work. We'll talk about that a little bit later. This is for Algebra 2. There is no online textbook for calculus, so you will need a physical textbook. If you are a hybrid student, I will see you sometime and you will get the textbook. You don't need it the first week anyway. If you're an Oilers Online student, talk to me. I'll have to take a couple to the office, but let me know when you're coming and I'll make sure that it's ready for you to pick up. And then if you need help this year, if you find anything confusing, please email me or send me a text and remind. The sooner we get things sorted out and the sooner you become unconfused, the better. Because if you let it linger, then it will just compound and you'll fall behind. And I don't want that at all. So that's how the course is set up. If you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope all this made sense. And once we get going, I think you'll get in sort of a routine of the class, and hopefully it will go fairly smoothly. So, look forward to seeing you soon.